Hello, 4:44. I haven't started a video at 4:44 in quite a while, and that used to be my favorite starting time. Anyway, it's been a rainy day here in Florida, and that's cooled things down a bit. And it's only 83 here, and I've got a shirt on. Of course, I was visiting my son and earlier my friend Denise in the rehabilitation hospital. And actually, the conversation that I had with Denise and her roommate, who's being discharged, actually, I guess she was to be discharged at 4:44, so she's now probably on her way temporarily home. Anyway, I'm not going to go into the details of her situation, except to say that the conversation with her certainly has bearing on the talk that for today's video, or actually Sunday's video. Let me just say that I was going to be doing a video with Astrid Van Treat today, but she has company coming in, and so that's going to happen tomorrow. We'll be recording 8 a.m. my time if everything goes as planned. Today, or Sunday's video, the title is Humanity Faces Staggering Relearning Curve, and I probably should put a staggering relearning curve in there, but I read you what I had. As visionaries around the world gain an ever-widening audience, one thing is certain: the old world paradigm of domination and competition is on its last legs. Every day more people realize the unsustainability of the matrix of control. Oh, the mainstream media still has a long way to go. The courts still operate their injustice system, and the government officials still act as if they are authority figures. Nevertheless, cracks are appearing everywhere for those with eyes to see. Mainstream media outlets are being trumped by alternative media. Judges are being challenged in their privately owned courthouses. And government people cannot help but notice the ever-growing public dissatisfaction with their corrupt practices and warmongering. Indeed, humanity is waking up. The majority is on the verge of learning the truth of corporate lies, which means we have a lot of relearning to do. One thing is certain: the truth will set us free. It's interesting, the conversation that occurred in there at Sea Pines Rehabilitation Hospital when I was talking to my friend Denise and the patient in the bed next to her named Betty, who's being released, or now has been released, if everything went as was scheduled for her. She's an older woman, and we share actually some time in the same church earlier. She knew Jamie Buckingham of the Tabernacle Church. She knew my mentor, Dr. Bruce Morgan. So there was some really interesting points in conversation. She really resonated with some of the things that I was sharing spiritually. She thought, wow, this is wonderful. But some of the things that we shared politically, she was aghast. I mean, absolutely aghast about 9/11, about the nature of the U.S. government and some of our leaders, including the Bushes. She's was obviously a staunch Republican, although I didn't get her to actually say that. She defended the Bushes as being wonderful people. But this is part of the brainwashing of our culture. And it's why I say that we face a staggering relearning curve, not just in the United States, but around the world, because nothing is the way we've been told it is. Virtually our entire structure and the content of our entire society has been built on lies, things that just simply are not true, and because they're not true, they're not sustainable. They were actually sustainable for a long time, however, because people were able to be kept in ignorance till the onset of the internet. Now, of course, that's being attacked by the Trans-Pacific Partnership, the TPP treaty that Obama and others are being pushed to sign and implement, that will take away a lot of the freedom that we've known on the internet and cause the ISPs, or the internet service providers, make them police people, if you will, about the content of certain websites and certain material that's right now mostly freely shared on the internet. This is just the fact that they want to do this and that it's come out in the alternative media is a strong indicator of the fact that they are losing their grip. They're trying to tighten their grip to try to regain what they know they've already lost. But you can't. This is one thing that that my friend and I talked about on our date last night. Is you can't once you learn something, once you see something, once you experience something, you can't go back and unlearn it. You can't go back and pretend you don't know the truth when it's been presented to you. Now, lies you can unlearn. If something isn't true and you come up with evidence that says, hey, wait a minute, I wasn't given all the facts, I'm changing my mind. You can unlearn a lie, but you can't unlearn truth because truth is stronger than lies. Light is stronger than darkness or ignorance. And you can't go back and not see what you've already seen and that settled in your heart that it's real. Now, my friend there, Betty, whom I've talked to other times when I've been visiting Denise, she said that I gave her a lot to think about. She thanked me for the resonance that she felt with some of the spiritual things that we were able to share. But some of the political stuff, I mean, she said, I'm gonna look at this. I'm gonna look at this. And I shared with her some of the things of some of my friends that had struggled with the cognitive dissonance of understanding the complexity of our governments and of the world that we live in. People that didn't really want it to be true, that they were criminal operations and stuff like that. But again, people are waking up. I shared, or I had shared with me a week or so ago, a video about a court case, for example, in which a man was on trial for not paying his taxes. And he demanded and received a jury trial. And even though the judge gave instructions to the jury before they went into deliberation, that would have ordinarily come with a verdict of guilty. You've got to pay your taxes, guy. The truth of the matter is the government never presented their case. They never showed the evidence of where paying taxes to the IRS is required by law, because the truth of the matter is it isn't required by law. And the jury came back with a verdict of not guilty. The judge got up from his bench and walked out of the courtroom. So as I said, courtrooms are being challenged. More and more people are standing up for our rights. I'm not going to just say their rights, because it's all of our rights. We have rights that are granted to us by Creator, and as such, they cannot be taken away. They are unalienable. We can't be alienated from that which is natural rights. A natural right to speak our mind, a natural right to worship or not worship as we choose, a natural right to have freedom of press, a natural right to assemble together, a natural right for a lot of things, to travel and to have and if there's a conflict, to have it resolved by a jury of our peers. All sorts of things that are embedded in our Bill of Rights and the Declaration of Human Rights of the United Nations, and the Declaration of Rights for the state of Florida and probably all other states and most countries in the world. Actually, all countries in the world come under the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights, which, if implemented, would go a long way to bringing about the changes that we need, and positive changes, because this is the bedrock, this is the foundation of the understanding of the divine purpose, if you will, of the United Nations, to create a family of nations that are based on principles that give people a chance to have their rights guaranteed. Now, of course, in the UN, in the US, everything has been pushed aside. All the rights have been pushed aside as we've had government of and by and for the corporations. But that is coming to an end. That is being challenged by people like me and other visionaries as never before. And most people in the world still don't get it, which is why I say there's a staggering relearning curve that is necessary, as we're going to have to retrain people in what the truth is. But as people like me discover the truth, we can't go back and unlearn it. There was something that Betty said in the conversation about the respect for soldiers and policemen. And I said, do you realize, Betty, that they have been totally brainwashed and they are controlled and given instructions that are just simply not true and in violation of human rights? No, she didn't get that at first glance, and it's hard for somebody that's always believed that the police are always the good guys and that the soldiers are defending freedom. Nothing could be further from the truth. Now, that doesn't mean that every soldier and every police person, everyone in a police force, are bad people. They're certainly not. But the training that has been provided by our corporate governance has been training that violates standards of human decency and, of course, violates human rights or natural rights that people have. One of the rights that people have that we've never really explored very much in this world, and it's one that we're coming into agreement with, is everyone has a right to the basic essentials, which is a lot what Astrid Van Treat is going to be talking about if everything goes well with our conversation tomorrow. Everyone has a right to the essentials of life. We all need clean air. So there's a natural right, and there are laws that should be able to be implemented in common law courts and common law grand juries to stop the poisoning of our atmosphere wherever it is found, because it's causing harm. And the corporations are going to have to be brought into a proper framework that brings them so that they are responsible for what they're doing and that they can't do things that cause harm. And many other things are going to be happening along this line, but the police are going to have to be retrained so that when they deal with the public, they're going to have to deal with the public based on common law. And the International Court of Justice, I believe that's what it's called, or anyway, it's the one where Kevin Annett has just made a proclamation, and beginning this month, May 2014, there's going to be, in several countries around the world, there's going to be education to police, basically, and to law enforcement on common law principles, so that we start re-educating people to protect that which is our unalienable right, that which is granted to us by the fact that we are born. And people are going to have a right to clean water, so that those that pollute the water are going to have to be brought to justice. There's not going to be a corporate veil to hide behind for those that pollute the air and the water now we've covered. People have a natural right to clean food. So companies like Monsanto and Arthur Daniels Midland and DuPont and these companies that are into genetic modification of our food are going to have to be answerable and held accountable to the people for the crimes that they're committing against humanity. And people are going to have to own up to what they're doing, and if they try to continue to do their dastardly deeds, they're going to have to be brought to justice. And these things are all in the works. Now, the majority of people are unaware of this. This is not mainstream media yet, but little cracks of things breaking into mainstream media are happening every day. Because, as I said, the alternative media is coming out with things, and so the more widespread things get on the alternative media, the mainstream media has to at least make comments at least some of the time. They don't do it a lot, but they do it some of the time. And there are people in the mainstream media that do bring things out that need to be brought out, that are helping people open their consciousness and open their minds to more of what is going on. And people have a natural right to shelter. We shouldn't have to pay to keep a roof over our head. There shouldn't be homelessness anywhere on the planet. Everyone has a right to a home. And you say, but Ron, these things cost money. No, No, they don't cost money. They cost creativity, they cost labor, they cost effort, they cost service, they cost making things and cooperation. But they don't cost money unless we choose to make it about money. And we can do that because money can serve us. Money does not have to be an impediment to our awareness, an impediment to our growth. We have a natural right to love and be loved, a natural right to travel freely without having to produce all sorts of documentation. We have a natural right to live our lives as human beings with as little interference by those that want to control us as possible. And those that want to control us, we have a natural right to tell them no, and that no to stand and to be recognized and accepted by the corporations. Now, I don't know how all of this is going to happen until the corporations die, because to me, corporations as we've known them, unless they are restructured under common law, they are going to be able to continue to wreak havoc. And we need to become aware of that the corporation structure itself and the financial structure itself are at the root of all of the injustices that happen on the earth, of all of the crimes against humanity, whether they're petty crimes of theft and violence and stuff like that in our cities and towns and villages and homes, but the rights on an international level, in nations fighting other nations and trying to control other nations and steal resources. This all has to come to an end. Humanity does face a staggering relearning curve as we are brought face to face with the truth of where we have come in this world, how we have gotten here, and what the mechanisms have been of control, so that we can stop those mechanisms of control and create together a world that works for everybody. I mean, I am so appreciative of the love that has come into my life, of the sharing of that love, and of the vision that I've had for a long time, and of more and more people being able to accept that vision and to hear what I'm saying and to hear what other visionaries are saying, because together it is the visionaries, those that can see a future that's pulling us forward. And this is what my friend told me last night on our date. She said, we're being drawn into this. She said, she said, I can't say no. She says, in a sense, I don't have a choice, because this is why I'm here. I was born for this. And we were all born to be free. We were all born to express our love freely and without restraint. We were all born to be responsible and to be in control of our own lives and to take possession of our own being and use it for good and not evil. The awakening is happening. We're involved in it. It's going on right now, and there's a lot of relearning that people are going to have to do, but we've made some excellent progress in that direction, and I'm excited about what the future holds. I thank you for listening as I shared this with you today, and may God bless you. Namaste.